The stars had always been quiet. For thousands of years, humans looked up at the night sky and wondered if they were alone. They built telescopes. They sent signals into the darkness. They waited and hoped for an answer. The answer came on a Tuesday morning. Admiral was drinking her coffee when the alarm started. She was 52 years old, with gray hair cut short and eyes that had seen too many battles. She had fought in the Mars Rebellion. She had stopped the Luna pirates. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. "Admiral, you need to see this," said Lieutenant. The young woman's hands were shaking as she pointed at the main screen. "Walk to the bridge of the..." The ship was humanity's greatest creation. It had taken 30 years to build. It was 2 kilometers long, covered in black armor that absorbed light instead of reflecting it. The ship looked like a shadow given form. But what saw on the screen made the look like a toy. 3,000 ships. They filled the space around Earth like a swarm of metal insects. Each one was at least 5 kilometers long. Their hulls were silver and blue, covered in strange symbols that glowed with purple light. They were beautiful in a terrible way. "How many?" asked. Her voice was calm. It had to be. 3,047, replied. They appeared from nowhere. No warning, no signal, they just arrived. Captain stood next to. He was younger than her, maybe 40, with a scar running down his left cheek. He got that scar fighting pirates near Jupiter. He never talked about it. "They're not attacking," said. "They're just sitting there, waiting." "They want us to see them," said. "They want us to be afraid." And people were afraid. All across Earth, billions of humans looked up at the sky. They could see the ships even in daylight. The massive vessels blocked out parts of the sun, creating shadows that moved across cities and oceans. Children cried. Adults prayed. Governments sent messages that no one answered. But did not cry or pray. She studied the ships. She counted their weapons. She looked for weak points. "Admiral," said Navigator Sora from her station. She was the youngest member of the bridge crew, only 25, but she was the best pilot humanity had ever produced. "I'm picking up a transmission. They're trying to talk to us." "Put it through," ordered. The screen changed. Instead of the view of the alien fleet, they now saw a face. It was not human. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and a mouth full of small, sharp teeth. It wore armor made of something that looked like bone. "I am High Commander of the Dominion," the creature said. Its voice was deep and cold, like stones grinding together. "We have watched your species for 100 of your years. We have seen you fight each other. We have seen you destroy your own world with pollution and war. You are violent. You are primitive. You are disappointing." Said nothing, she just listened. But continued. "Your planet has resources we need. Your star produces energy we can harvest. Your species can be useful as workers in our mines and factories. So we offer you a choice. Surrender now and we will be merciful. Some of you will live. Resist, and we will kill every human on Earth and take what we want anyway." The transmission ended. The screen showed the alien fleet again. The bridge was silent. Everyone looked at. They were waiting for her to speak. They were waiting for her to save them. Commander broke the silence. He was the weapons officer, a large man with hands like hammers. He had never lost a fight in his life. "Admiral, they have 3,000 ships. We have 1. The math is not good." "The math is never good," replied. "That's why we don't fight with math." She walked to the center of the bridge. The crew watched her every movement. She could feel their fear. She could also feel something else. Hope. They believed in her. They believed in humanity. "Listen to me," said. "All of you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking we can't win. You're thinking this is the end. You're thinking about your families back on Earth, your parents, your children, your lovers. You're wondering if you'll ever see them again." She paused. Her eyes moved from face to face. "I can't promise you'll survive today. I can't promise anything, but I can tell you this. That was not built to run. It was not built to hide. It was not built to surrender. It was built for moments exactly like this one, and so were we. Lieutenant raised her hand. Admiral, why did Earth Command only send one ship? Surely they could have sent more. Smiled, it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. They didn't send one ship because one ship was all they had, she said. They sent one ship because one ship is all we need. Captain laughed. It was a short, sharp sound. They have no idea what they're dealing with, do they? No, said. They don't. They looked at humanity and saw weakness. They saw us fighting each other and thought we were primitive. They made a mistake that every enemy of humanity has made throughout history. What mistake? Sora asked. Looked at the alien fleet on the screen. 3,000 ships, millions of alien soldiers, weapons that could destroy cities in seconds, and against all of that, one black ship floating in the darkness. They confused our kindness for weakness, said. They thought our mercy meant we could not be cruel. They thought our peace meant we had forgotten how to make war. She sat down in her command chair. Today, we remind them. Today, we remind the entire galaxy. She pressed a button on her chair. Her voice echoed through every speaker on the ship. All hands, this is Admiral Battle Stations. They want a war, let's give them one. They began to move. Its engines glowed with blue fire. Its weapons powered up with a sound like thunder. And in the darkness of space, surrounded by 3,000 enemy ships, humanity's single vessel prepared to fight. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was about to learn. High Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest. It was the largest ship in the fleet. It was also the oldest. His father had commanded it. His grandfather had built it. For 300 years, this ship had brought death to 100 worlds. Today, it would bring death to one more. Watched the human ship on his screen. It was small. It was alone. It was moving toward his fleet like a fish swimming toward a shark. The humans are insane, said Subcommander. He was second in command, a younger with ambition in his 4 eyes. One ship against 3,000. This is not a battle. This is suicide. Perhaps, said, or perhaps they are brave. It does not matter. Brave or insane, they will die the same way. He pressed a button on his command throne. His voice traveled across space to the human vessel. Human ship, this is High Commander. You have seen our fleet. You have heard our demands. You cannot win this fight. Surrender now. Power down your weapons. Open your doors. We will board your vessel and take your crew as prisoners. You will be treated fairly. Smiled when he said that last word. He did not mean it. The humans would become slaves. They would work in mines until they died, but there was no need to tell them that now. He waited for an answer. He expected begging. He expected crying. He expected the humans to fall on their knees and beg for mercy. What he got was one word. No. The voice was calm. It belonged to a male human, checked his data. This was Captain, the second in command of the human vessel. No, repeated. He was not sure he had heard correctly. You say no to me, to the Dominion. Do you understand what we will do to you? I understand perfectly, replied. His voice was still calm. It was the voice of someone discussing the weather, not someone facing death. You will try to destroy us. You will fail. Then we will destroy you. Felt something he had not felt in a very long time. Anger. These primitive creatures dared to threaten him. These beings who had only left their planet a few hundred years ago. These insects who fought with sticks and stones while his ancestors conquered star systems. You are making a mistake, growled. Your ship is impressive for your species, I admit this, but it is still just one ship. We have 3,000. Our weapons can crack moons in half. Our shields can stop a star's fire. What can you possibly do against us? There was a pause. Then a different voice came through. It was female, older, with steel in every word. This is Admiral of the Earth Defense Ship. High Commander, let me explain something to you. Leaned forward. He was curious now. What could this human possibly say? 100 years ago, you started watching our planet. You saw us fighting wars. You saw us polluting our oceans. You saw us building weapons to kill each other. And you thought you understood us. You thought we were violent animals who could barely control ourselves. Because you are, said. Yes and no, replied. We are violent, this is true, but we don't fight because we are animals. We fight because we are human. We fight for our families. We fight for our homes. We fight for ideas and dreams. We fight because sometimes fighting is the only way to protect what we love. Pretty words, said. They will not stop my weapons. Maybe not, said. But let me tell you something else. Something your spies did not see. While we were fighting each other, we were also preparing. We knew that someday something would come from the stars. We knew it might be friendly. We hoped it would be friendly, but we prepared for the possibility that it would not be. Felt a small chill run down his back. It was a strange feeling. He ignored it. The is not just a ship, continued. It is 30 years of our best scientists working together. It is every lesson we learned from every war we ever fought. It is human creativity and human stubbornness and human rage, all compressed into 2 kilometers of armor and weapons. You look at it and see one small ship. I look at it and see the answer to every threat we've ever faced. You are bluffing, said, but his voice was less certain now. Am I? Asked. Then call my bluff, fire your weapons, attack us with everything you have, show the entire galaxy the power of the Dominion. She paused. And then watch what happens next. The transmission ended, stared at the screen. The human ship was still coming toward them. It moved slowly, almost lazily, as if it had all the time in the universe. Sir, said, your orders. Thought about's words. He thought about her voice. There had been no fear in it, no hesitation. She had spoken like someone who already knew how this battle would end. But that was impossible. No single ship, no matter how advanced, could defeat 3,000 warships. It went against every law of war. It went against common sense. It went against reality itself. Unless, Sir asked again, should we open fire? Made his decision. He had conquered 100 worlds. He had killed billions of creatures. He had never lost a battle. He was not going to start being afraid now, especially not of a single ship crewed by primitives. All ships, commanded, target the human vessel, fire everything. I want it turned to dust. Across the fleet, weapons began to charge. Thousands of cannons powered up. Millions of missiles prepared to launch. Energy beams that could melt steel gathered strength. On the lieutenant watched her sensor screen. Admiral, they're charging weapons, all of them. They're going to hit us with everything they have. Good, said. Good, voice cracked. Admiral, we're about to be hit by 3,000 ships at once. Yes, said. She was smiling. It was a strange smile. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. And when their weapons fail, when their best attack does nothing, they will understand. They will finally understand what they're dealing with. Commander looked at his weapons panel. Admiral, should I prepare to return fire? Not yet, said. First we show them. First we let them see what they cannot hurt. Then we teach them fear. The fleet opened fire. The sky filled with light. Beams and missiles and plasma bolts streaked toward the like a river of death. It was the most destructive attack in history. It was enough firepower to destroy a moon. It was enough to crack a planet in half. It all hit the at once. And on the bridge of the Admiral did not even blink. The shields held. The shields held like they were made of something stronger than steel, stronger than diamond, stronger than anything they had ever seen. The attacks did not scratch them. They did not dent them. They did not even make them flicker. They sailed through the storm of fire like it was nothing. Watched in horror, his 4 eyes went wide, his mouth fell open. For the first time in his long life, he felt something he had made others feel countless times. Fear. What is that ship?" he whispered. Opened a channel to the fleet. "That was your best shot," she said. "Now it's our turn." Lieutenant could not believe what she was seeing. Her screens showed that they had just taken enough firepower to destroy a small planet. The readings were impossible. The numbers made no sense. And yet here they were, alive, untouched. "Shields at 100%, she reported. Her voice was shaking. "No damage, none at all." Captain let out a breath he did not know he was holding. "How is that possible? They hit us with everything." Admiral stood up from her command chair. She looked calm. She looked like she had expected this all along. "The shields on thee are not normal shields," she explained. "They don't absorb energy like other shields. They redirect it. Every weapon they fired at us, every beam, every missile, every pulse of plasma, it all went somewhere else." "Where?" asked. "Into a pocket dimension," said. "Our scientists discovered how to create small tiers in space, tiny doors to nowhere. Our shields open these doors and push all incoming energy through them. The energy goes somewhere else, somewhere that isn't here." Stared at her admiral. That's not possible, that's science fiction." "It was science fiction," said. "Now it's just science, human science." On the flagship, High Commander was screaming at his officers. "Fire again, keep firing. No ship can block that much power forever." His fleet obeyed. Thousands of weapons fired again and again. The space around them became a sea of light and fire. Beams crossed each other. Missiles exploded against the black ship's shields. Plasma bolts splashed against its armor like water against stone. And still they came forward. It did not slow down. It did not turn. It moved through the storm like a ghost. "It's not working," Subcommander said. His voice was quiet, afraid. "Sir, nothing is working." "That's impossible," shouted. "Keep firing, more power, use the planet crackers." The fleet had weapons called planet crackers. They were the most powerful weapons in their arsenal. Each one could punch through a world's core and split it apart like an egg. They had used these weapons to end wars. They had used them to make examples of rebellious planets. They had never failed. 10 planet crackers fired at once. 10 beams of pure destruction, each one as thick as a city, struck thee at the same moment. The shields held. Fell back into his throne. His 4 eyes were wide with something he had never felt before: terror. "What are these humans?" he whispered. "What have they built?" Admiral turned to Lieutenant. "It's time," she said. "Activate the gravity well generators." Nodded. Her fingers moved across her control panel. Deep inside, the machines that had never been tested in battle began to wake up. "Gravity well generators online," reported. "Ready on your command, Admiral." "Now," said. The did something impossible. It reached out with invisible hands and grabbed the space around it. It twisted that space. It bent it. It turned gravity from a force of nature into a weapon. The ships closest to the felt it first. They stopped moving forward. Then they started moving sideways, not because they wanted to, because they could not help it. "What's happening?" demanded. "Why are our ships moving?" "Sir," said, his voice breaking with fear, "the human ship is creating a gravitational field. It's pulling our ships toward each other. We can't control our own vessels." Across the fleet, chaos erupted. Ships that had been in perfect formation began to drift. They turned in circles. They spun out of control. Captains screamed orders that their engines could not follow. And then the ships started hitting each other. 2 cruisers collided with a sound that no one could hear in the vacuum of space. They crumpled against each other like paper. Then 3 more ships came together. Then 10. Then 100. The fleet was destroying itself. "Full reverse," screamed. "All ships full reverse, get away from that thing." But it was too late. The gravity well was too strong. Ships that tried to pull away found themselves sliding back. Their engines burned at maximum power, but they moved backward anyway, pulled by a force they could not resist. Admiral watched the chaos on her screen. Her face showed no joy, no celebration, only grim determination. "Commander," she said, "prepare the main weapons. Target the largest concentrations of enemy ships." His hands moved across his controls. "Main weapons ready, Admiral. What do you want me to use?" "Everything," said. They opened fire, but these were not normal weapons. These were not beams or missiles or plasma. These were something new, something human. Rail guns fired projectiles at a fraction of the speed of light. These simple metal slugs, moving faster than anything they had ever seen, punched through ship after ship. They did not stop. They did not slow down. They went through one ship and into the next after that. Particle cannons released streams of matter moving at speeds that turned them into pure energy. They cut through armor like sunlight through fog. Ships split in half. Others exploded from the inside out. And then there were the drones. Thousands of small machines poured out of the like bees from a hive. Each one was the size of a car. Each one carried enough explosives to destroy a battleship. They flew into the gaps in the fleet and found ships that were already damaged, already confused, already dying. The drones did not hesitate. They flew into engine ports and weapon systems and shield generators. They exploded inside the enemy ships, tearing them apart from within. In 10 minutes, 500 ships were destroyed. In 20 minutes, the number was over 1,000. High Commander could not speak. He could not think. He could only watch as his invincible fleet was torn to pieces by a single human ship. "This can't be real," he said. "This can't be happening." But it was real, it was happening, and it was only getting worse. On Earth, billions of people watched the battle through telescopes and cameras. They saw the flashes of light as ships died. They saw the explosions that lit up the darkness. They saw their enemy, the enemy that had seemed so powerful, falling apart. And slowly, very slowly, they began to hope. On the navigator, Sora looked up from her controls. "Admiral," she said, "some of the enemy ships are trying to escape. They're heading for the hyperspace lanes. If they get there, they can jump away." Shook her head. "No, no one leaves, not until this is finished." "What should I do?" Sora asked. "Lock the lanes," said. "Use the gravity generators. Create walls they can't pass through. Trap them here with us." Sora's eyes went wide. "We can do that." "We can do that," confirmed. "We can do things they never imagined possible. That's what humans do. We take the impossible and make it real." Sora turned back to her controls. Her fingers danced across the panels. Outside, the space around the battle began to change. The hyperspace lanes, the paths that ships used to travel faster than light, became blocked. Invisible walls of twisted gravity sealed them shut. They were trapped. They could not fight. They could not run. They could only watch as they continued its work. And the work was not done yet. Commander had spent his entire life preparing for war. He had trained since he was a child. He had studied every battle in human history. He had learned how to kill with his hands, with knives, with guns, with ships. He thought he understood violence. He was wrong. What he saw on his weapon screens was not violence. It was art. It was the most terrible, beautiful art he had ever witnessed. "Admiral," he said, his voice rough with emotion, "half the enemy fleet is already gone. Should we offer them a chance to surrender?" Thought about this. She thought about the demands. She thought about what they had planned to do with Earth. Slaves in mines, workers in factories, billions of humans dying slowly in the darkness of alien worlds. "No," she said, "not yet. They need to learn a lesson first. They need to understand that coming here was the worst decision they ever made." She turned to prepare the solar lance. The bridge went quiet. Everyone knew about the solar lance. It was this most powerful weapon. It was also its most dangerous. The weapon worked by creating a small opening to the surface of the sun, just for a moment, just long enough to release a beam of pure solar fire. No one had ever used it in battle. No one knew what would happen when it fired. "Admiral," Captain said carefully, "are you sure? The solar lance has never been tested. We don't know exactly how much damage it will cause." "I know exactly how much damage it will cause," replied. "Enough." His fingers moved across his controls. Deep inside the most complicated machine ever built by human hands began to wake up. Power flowed through circuits that had never been used. Energy gathered in chambers designed to hold the heart of a star. "Solar lance charging," reported. 20%, 40%, 60%. High Commander saw something strange on his screen. The human ship was glowing. A light was building inside it, a light that was getting brighter with each passing second. "What is that?" he demanded. "What are they doing?" No one on his bridge had an answer. They had never seen anything like this. Their instruments could not understand what they were detecting. 80% said, 90%, 100%, solar lance fully charged. Admiral stood up. She looked at the main screen. There were still over 1,500 ships out there. 1,500 ships that had come to enslave her world. 1,500 ships filled with aliens who saw humans as nothing more than resources to be used. "Fire," she said. They did something impossible. It reached across the millions of kilometers between itself and the sun. It opened a door, and through that door came fire. The solar lance was not a beam in the normal sense. It was a river of plasma and energy and light that poured through space like water through a broken dam. It was the color of gold and white and orange all mixed together. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It hit the center of the fleet. Ships did not explode. They did not burn. They simply stopped existing. The heat was so intense that solid metal became gas in an instant. Shields designed to survive the hearts of stars failed immediately. Armor made from the strongest materials in the galaxy evaporated like morning dew. In 5 seconds, 300 ships were gone. The solar lance swept across the fleet like a finger of God. Where it touched, there was only death. Ships that tried to run were caught and destroyed. Ships that tried to hide behind others watched as the lance burned through everything in its path. Fell to his knees. His throne was forgotten. His pride was forgotten. Everything was forgotten except the horror in front of his eyes. His fleet, the mighty armada of the Dominion, was being erased from existence. The ships that remained were scattering in panic. Their formations were gone. Their discipline was gone. Their courage was gone. All that was left was fear. "Stop!" screamed into his communication system. "Stop! We surrender, please stop!" But the solar lance did not stop. It continued for another 30 seconds. 30 seconds that felt like 30 years. 30 seconds that burned more than 800 additional ships. Then finally it went dark. Admiral sat back down. Her face was pale. Using the solar lance had cost her something. It had cost all of them something. Taking life, even the lives of enemies, was never free. "Status report," she said quietly. Lieutenant looked at her screens. Her hands were trembling. "The enemy fleet has been reduced to approximately 400 ships," she said. "Most of them are badly damaged. None of them are able to fight effectively." Captain looked at the destruction on the screen. Wreckage floated everywhere. The remains of ships that had once carried thousands of warriors were now nothing but twisted metal and frozen bodies. "We won," he said. He could not believe the words coming from his mouth. "We actually won." "Not yet," said. "We're not done yet." She opened a channel to the surviving ships. "This is Admiral of the Earth Defense Ship. High Commander, are you still alive?" There was a long pause, then his face appeared on the screen. He looked different now. The arrogance was gone. The pride was gone. His 4 eyes were filled with tears that he could not wipe away. "I am alive," he said. His voice was broken. "What do you want from me? What more can you take?" I want you to listen, said. I want you to understand, and then I want you to carry a message back to your people. What message? Asked. Leaned forward. You came here thinking we were weak. You came here thinking we were primitive. You looked at one ship and laughed. You thought we were giving up. You thought we were offering ourselves to you. She paused. You were wrong. We sent one ship because one ship is all we needed. We sent one ship because we didn't want to waste resources. We sent one ship because we knew, before this battle even started, exactly how it would end. Said nothing, he could not speak, he could only listen. Go home, continued. Take your remaining ships and go home. Tell your leaders what happened here. Tell them about the solar lance. Tell them about the gravity wells that trapped your fleet and the shields that blocked your weapons. Tell them everything. And then what? Asked weakly. His eyes were hard. And then make sure they understand this. We don't want war. We never wanted war. We would have been happy to live in peace, to trade with your people, to learn from each other. But if anyone threatens our home again, if anyone comes here thinking they can take what is ours, we will respond. And next time we won't just send one ship. She let those words hang in the silence of space. Next time we'll send a fleet. Closed his eyes. His shoulders shook. Whether from relief or despair, no one could tell. We will go, he said finally. We will deliver your message, but Admiral, what are you? What are humans really? Smiled, it was a sad smile. We're survivors, she said. We've survived ice ages and plagues and wars and disasters. We've survived everything our own planet could throw at us. And now we'll survive you too. Because that's what humans do. We survive, we adapt, we overcome. And when we have to, we fight. She reached for the button to end the transmission. Go home, High Commander, and pray we never meet again. The remaining ships limped away from Earth. Navigator Sara had opened the hyperspace lanes just enough for them to escape. They fled like wounded animals, leaving behind the wreckage of their once mighty fleet. Admiral watched them go. She felt tired, more tired than she had ever felt in her life. The battle was over, but the weight of what they had done pressed down on her shoulders like a mountain. Captain stood beside her. Admiral, should we pursue them? Make sure they don't come back. Shook her head. No, let them go, let them run. Let them tell everyone what happened here. You think they will? Asked. I'm counting on it, replied. The best defense we can have is not a fleet of warships. It's a reputation. After today, everyone in the galaxy will know what happens when you threaten Earth. They'll think twice. They'll think 3 times, and most of them will decide it's not worth the risk. Lieutenant looked up from her station. Admiral, I'm receiving transmissions from Earth. Everyone wants to talk to you. The governments, the media, the people, everyone. Sighed, she was not ready for this. She wanted to rest. She wanted to close her eyes and forget about the thousands of lives she had ended today, but leaders did not have that luxury. Put them through, she said. All of them. I'll address everyone at once. The main screen changed. Instead of the empty space where the fleet had been, now saw faces. Thousands of faces, millions of faces, watching her from screens across the planet. World leaders sat in their offices. Families gathered in their living rooms. Children looked up from their schools. The entire world was watching. People of Earth began. Her voice was broadcast in every language. It reached every corner of the planet. Today we face the greatest threat in our history. An alien fleet came to our home. They demanded our surrender. They threatened to kill us all. She paused. The silence was complete. We did not surrender. We fought back, and we won. Across the planet, people began to cheer. In cities and villages, in deserts and forests, in places where humans had lived for thousands of years, celebration erupted. Strangers hugged each other. Enemies forgot their differences. For one moment, the entire human race was united. But raised her hand, and the cheering stopped. Today should not be a celebration, she said. Today should be a lesson. Today, thousands of beings died because their leaders made a terrible decision. They came to our home thinking we were weak. They were wrong, but that does not make their deaths less tragic. Commander looked at with surprise. He had expected her to claim victory, to boost human pride, to make speeches about their power. Instead, she spoke of the enemies dead. We are not conquerors, continued. We are not destroyers. We built to protect our home, not to threaten others. We developed our weapons because we had no choice, not because we wanted them. Today, we prove that humanity can defend itself. But let us never forget the cost of that defense. She looked directly into the camera. Her eyes seemed to reach through the screens and touch every person watching. They made a mistake. They saw us fighting each other and thought we were our own worst enemies. They saw our wars and our pollution and our divisions and they thought we were weak. But they missed something important. They missed the other side of humanity. His voice grew stronger. Yes, we fight each other. Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, we sometimes hurt the people we love and the planet we call home. But we also heal. We also grow. We also learn. When we face a true threat, when something comes for our families and our friends and our future, we put aside our differences. We stand together. We become something more than the sum of our parts. She smiled. It was a real smile this time, warm and hopeful. The thought they were facing a divided species. Instead, they faced a united one. They thought they were attacking separate nations. Instead, they attacked one home. And they learned what every enemy of humanity has learned throughout history. We are stronger together than we are apart. On the crew listened to their admiral's words. They felt pride. They felt relief. They also felt something deeper, something harder to name. They felt connected to every other human on Earth, to every person who had ever lived, to every person who would ever be born. They felt like family. Today we send a message to the galaxy, said. We are humanity. We are curious and creative. We are gentle and fierce. We are kind and we are terrible. We would rather be friends than enemies. We would rather build than destroy. But if you threaten our home, if you come for our children, if you try to take what is ours. Her voice dropped low. We will stop you, we will defeat you, and we will make sure you never forget. She ended the broadcast. The screen went dark. For a long moment, no one on the bridge spoke. Then Lieutenant broke the silence. Admiral, what do we do now? Looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there they were running home with their terrible news. Somewhere out there, other species were watching, waiting to see what would happen next. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was learning a new word. Humanity. Now, it said, now we go home, we rest, we heal, we hold our loved ones and thank the universe that we're still alive. She turned to face her crew. These brave men and women who had followed her into battle against impossible odds. These humans who had proven that one ship could stand against 3,000. And then, she continued, we prepare. Because they were not the first to look at us with hungry eyes, they won't be the last. The galaxy knows about us now. Some will fear us, some will hate us, some will want to test us. We need to be ready. Captain nodded. We will be ready. If they send 100 fleets, we'll send 100 ships. If they send 1,000 fleets, we'll send 1,000 ships. They'll learn that Earth is not a target. Earth is a fortress. No, said softly, not a fortress, a home. We defend our home because we love it, not because we love war. Remember that, Captain. Always remember that. The day we start loving war is the day we lose our humanity. And our humanity is the one thing we can never lose. The turn toward Earth. Its engines glowed with soft blue light. Around it, the wreckage of the fleet drifted in silence, a monument to the day humanity announced itself to the galaxy. On Earth, people looked up at the sky. They knew that somewhere above them, their defenders were coming home. Families prepared welcome parties. Cities planned parades. Children drew pictures of the black ship that had saved them all. But in the command rooms and laboratories, in the factories and training centers, other preparations began. Because was right. They were just the beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders and dangers. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger world. There was no going back. Navigator Sara set the course for home. The journey would take only a few hours, but she flew slowly. She wanted the crew to rest. She wanted them to have this moment of peace before the chaos began. Admiral stood at the window of her private quarters. She looked at the stars that had always seemed so far away. Now they seemed closer. Now they seemed reachable. "We're coming," she whispered to the darkness. "Ready or not, here we come." They sailed on. Behind it, a message spread across the galaxy. A message carried by frightened and transmitted by curious observers. A message that would change everything. The humans are awake. They have one ship that defeated 3,000, one ship that could not be stopped. And that was just one ship. Imagine what they could do with more. The galaxy imagined. The galaxy trembled. And somewhere on Earth, a child looked up at the stars and dreamed of the adventures yet to come.